So it's streaming to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, so we're live.
Hello.
So, for anybody watching, and actually there's nobody watching at the moment because I can see a little eye with a 0.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it will be recorded. So for anybody watching on replay, or if you hop on live, I'm talking to Mandi Simms, who is an absolute stunningly gorgeous lady in the south of England. And she's actually a bit famous because she's been on Channel 5. So Mandi, would you like to tell us about how you ended up on Channel 5, how you ended up Channel 5 famous, and what the programme was?
I never really... Sorry?
Do I make a good interviewer?
Oh, you do. You do. I think between us will be absolutely a wonderful duo. It's a really weird one, actually, because I didn't really think that, I don't really think of myself as being famous, but I do think of myself as being someone that really wants to help create awareness about hoarding behaviour. And for me, the word hoarding was a word that I didn't really use, or I didn't really understand, or I didn't really relate to. But I started to become involved with Hoarding UK. I looked up the charity Hoarding UK, and I was contacted by Channel 5. Well, in fact, Crackit Productions, working on behalf of a programme for Channel 5. And they were looking for people that had hoarding behaviour. And what better place to go to find people that have got hoarding behaviour are to a charity or a Facebook page that potentially are supporting people with hoarding behaviour. So they contacted me via Messenger. And asked whether or not I would be interested in being involved with a TV programme, a show that they were working on. And that was Hoarders Buried Alive. I agreed. And the reason that I agreed to do it was because I wanted to help destigmatise and also talk about the mental health awareness behind why people hoard. And I think that was the start of my journey. There's a little bit more background. Sorry?
And to get rid of
Yeah, and because I knew I had a problem. I've got a massive collection of vintage clothing, bags, shoes, you name it. I pretty much have it, and it was grown.
It's actually really gorgeous stuff, isn't it? It's not.
Oh, it's beautiful stuff. No, it's beautiful stuff,
really
Anne-Marie.
nice
I think
stuff.
This was one of the reasons, I wanted to break the stigma. Hoarding behaviour can be with pretty much anything. So when it was starting to impact my life and becoming very, very overwhelming, that's when I started to realise that I had a problem and it was affecting, my life. So that was the main reason that I said yes. I asked several people in the community that work with people with hoarding behaviour, and they were all very much, please be careful, we don't want it to have a detrimental effect if you're working with a TV company and you're in a programme. And so I was very, very keen to say, no, I'm really going to work with them. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to say, look, I can't be involved with the programme. And also I'd said that it won't be about getting rid of any of my hoard. It's just about wanting to explain to people that there is a problem, and I wanted to help break the stigma and create awareness about hoarding, of which I'd recognised finally that I had hoarding behaviour as a result of various
You do actually want to get rid of your...
I do. I've realised that, it's almost like, an anchor or a weight around, me and my life and moving forward. So it was, and I also realised that to get rid of my hoard, it was going to take me so long, because they are so beautiful. It's not just a let's get a skip and let's throw it in. It's not that, because they're beautiful. I think if anyone ever looks a programme up, then they'll see that they're talking about a collection that could be worth thousands of pounds. So
and the programme, I've watched the programme, they estimated how much stock, for want of a better word, because we call it a hoard, it's actually stock as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's stock
And
and value.
what do they estimate?
Well, they estimated it about 30 to 40,000 pound, and they estimated that it could be worth more. I think my sadness around it, it's not necessarily the money that is motivating me. It's more about, it's time to move it on so other people can enjoy it as well.
And
Because while it's sitting in here,
and
sorry.
it's time for you to heal.
Yeah, it's time for me to heal, and it's taken me a long while to get to this stage, and now I think I'm in a particularly exciting episode of my journey. I talk about, my road to recovery will only ever started after my road of recognition, and I think recognizing the problem was the start.
So let's talk about the next chapter of this very exciting journey.
It is.
You've had the opportunity to open up a pop-up shop.
I have.
So
Initially, I was desperate to there's so many empty units on the high street, and I was desperate to, rather than have these units be empty, to do something with them. So I started to approach a couple of people and say, look, I'm really be interested in doing a pop-up. Do you think it's possible? And it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't going to be happening until one day, where a particular unit that I really loved, it was actually a beautiful old jigsaw unit in Walton, and it would have been perfect. Beautiful wooden floor, chandeliers, perfect for my vintage vintage clothing collection. It would have been brilliant. And then I walked past it one day and saw that there was all vinyls all over the window, with Rainbow Rising, who are a charity that work with landlords and shopping centres to basically let people set up pop-ups. They're working with charities in local communities to let people go in and do a pop-up. So I approached them, rather than have the units empty, to breathe life into the units, but also to breathe life into the communities as well. So rather than having lots of empty shops, they were being utilised and being given life by charities, to support the charities. And it's happened over in Wandsworth, in the shopping centre. There's one up in Rochdale that they've got involved. There's many more, I'm sure, but at the time it was very, very early days, and I saw all the vinyls on the shop and approached them, and I think, as they say, the rest is history. So I'm actually working, so I've got a pop-up now.
And a lot of your stock is in the shop, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it's there. It's sort of all being
not actually opened yet.
No, I haven't opened yet. It's been processed, because it's obviously got to be steamed, because it's been in bags and it's been in storage. So it's quite exciting. It's quite overwhelming sometimes, because obviously it is my own hoard. I'm raising funds, obviously, for helping to raise funds for Hoarding UK.
And that's part of the deal for the shop, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you have to be, you have to be a charity. You have to be working with a charity, for a charity, raising funds for a charity, to be a charity. And it's only on a temporary contract, so it's a rolling contract of 28 days. So it's very exciting.
A very exciting.
Oh, it's amazingly exciting, and it's just been such an opportunity. It's more than I can be hoping for, so it's really exciting. It's everything I've wanted. It's going to be a lot quicker to sell my stock than putting every single item up onto, any of the famous trading platforms that I could use. It's all going to be in one place, and people can come and visit me talk to me about my
Okay.
hoard and my behaviour as well.
Yeah, let's look at who's actually helping you at the moment, because there's a huge, army of people behind you, either organisations or individuals. And if we start first with Rebel Business School, because that's where that's how we connected originally.
Yes, that's how we met. I was actually attending Rebel Business School in Berkshire on the Berkshire course over in February, March. And one of the lovely presenters, a lady called Laura, I had been talking about social media, and I said I was really interested in networking and meeting people. And I also spoke about what I was doing, because everyone talks about what their business is, what their project is, what they want to do, because Rebel Business School are all about supporting and helping and people to set up their business. 10 days over 10 weeks, 2 weeks, 10 days, and they help support people by setting up their own business. And the amazing part of that is that it was free. So
Yeah.
it was 10 till 3 over these 10 days, and it covered all sorts of subjects. It covered like press, PR, social media, why do you want to set up in business, the audiences, finance, all sorts of mental health, your ability to be able to do it, networking, covered absolutely everything. So it was a great opportunity for me to tune back in and feel not so overwhelmed, to just start to
Yeah, and to
refocus,
get you started.
to get me started. And your name was recommended as you were actually doing a declutter. And I
Yeah,
said, okay, I love networking myself. So automatically I was like, I found you in the Rebel
tracked you down.
Business, tracked you down, tracked you down via the Rebel Business School Facebook support group, and then connected with you. And that's when we connected and started to discuss how we could collaborate, work together, and I could look at a different way of moving my energy forward, because
Yeah,
it was overwhelming. It is overwhelming, but it's starting to become less overwhelming as
yeah.
I'm facing, because there's a lot of, with anything with hoarding, there's normally hoarding behavior, there is normally a reason why
Mhm.
people have chosen this way. It could have been anything else, drink or drugs, or as their high, or as their go-to. But for me, my triggers were, I went charity shopping, I went car booting, and I have purchased lots of beautiful clothes over a very long period of time, years and
So
years.
on that note, how do you want to talk about the work that we're doing together, and we're going to be doing together? We've done a few sessions already.
Yes, I mean, it's
Without
Anne-Marie,
any sort of
yeah, okay.
icky details.
Yes, no details.
No details.
It's absolutely wonderful, because Anne-Marie and I, obviously, I was talking about my journey. I said, I'd really love to, if we can work together, because I realize, I've done so much research and looking at myself. I realized I had to face some quite deep-seated emotional traumas that had happened in my life, throughout my life, potentially, 15 onwards, would have been areas that would have just been squashed down. There was grief, there was loss, there was trauma, and it's very easy to think, oh, I just collect, I just enjoy. But when you start to really think about why, and Anne-Marie is a wonderful lady, I'll say that, because she's working with me, and we are starting to talk about the reasons why, and to clear by clearing my energy, moving my energy forward, leaving it behind, addressing it by a technique which I'd heard about, tapping. And if I get this wrong, Anne-Marie, please stop me, because I'm still quite an infant when it comes to this stage of talking about it. So it was all very new to me. Emotional freedom technique and tapping was all a bit unusual, but
Very unusual, isn't it?
very unusual, but
But it
very,
was.
but very, very good, and very, when you think of it, you know, we have acupuncture, we have reflexology, we have all of these that are pressure points in some way that will trigger and move energy around your body, but also release energy. And so then we started looking at tapping. So we've had, is it 3 sessions that we've spoke? I think we had an
I think the
introduction.
first time we spoke, we just had a chat, and then we've
Yeah,
done
that's it.
where we've actually done some work.
Yeah, and then we've done
And
some
the work
work.
is, you know, is the mindset, the essential mindset and energy work that we need to clear our inner stuff
Yeah.
before we can, you know, often change our lives on the outside. We need to change, you know, our thinking, our feelings, our beliefs, energies, you know, on the inside.
Mm.
And that then, you know, it can change on the outside. And it can change quite quickly on the outside once
Mm.
the inside.
There's been some emotive times when there's obviously been a subject that I've discussed with Anne-Marie, because I kind of, it's not, I've not thought about it, it's just like really bringing it to a head, but also having something that can help clear it rather than just
that's the
cancel and
key.
talk about it. Yeah, there was
That's
actually
the key. We're not just talking about it, we're actually
yeah.
clearing the energy, we're clearing the feelings.
Yeah, and that's,
You know,
and so there's been a couple of really emotive times when it's just I've just like felt this amazing, you know, welling up of emotion that I've just burst into tears. And that's been very, very emotional. And I've been, oh, thank goodness we're not live, because I'm very tearful.
yeah. It's
And
quite
there's
cathartic though as well, isn't it?
oh my goodness, it's you know, and there's been laughter through the tears. So,
Yeah,
as I say, sunshine through the rain.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
the sun coming out the other side,
Yeah, absolutely.
and sparkle is coming back, which is a big
And
thing.
we've got some more work to do, but
Yeah,
Rome
yeah.
wasn't built in a day, was it?
Oh no, we've used that phrase a couple of
No,
times.
it's a good one, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's for me it's about regaining, you know, I was very interested in talking about regaining my sparkle,
Yeah,
you know,
we will
getting
do.
back to the person, and I know that we will do. And you know, I'm very keen for other people to realize that, you know, there is a way forward, there is a way out. You know, it was overwhelming and still is. You know, I'm not going to deny that, you know, it's all fine now, because you know, there's a lot of stuff to clear through, including my emotional and physical baggage.
Yeah. So let's just go back to the question of who's actually helping you. So we've mentioned Rebel Business School, but there's also other organisations, Fed, Fed WAP, Fed,
A FedCap. This is
FedCap.
all. I mean, I'd like to kind of talk about the FedCap and Momentrix potentially a little bit later on in my journey, because it's very new. Because you know, I was talking about needing some business support. Rebel Business School were the first thing that came up to me. Very much about, you know, what you put out, you'll get back, you know, and that attracted me first. And they have then gone on to, um, actually Job Centre Plus have gone on to recommend that, you know, I speak to FedCap and I speak to Momentrix. And so it's very, very early days. So,
You've also got support from Hoarders UK, haven't you?
yes, yeah, very much, you know, very much so, because obviously Hoarding UK is the charity that I'm going to be raising funds for and raising awareness of hoarding. Um, and you know that, and I've got lots of friends, I've got some great support through my friends, because you know, I want to obviously ask people that were at my local hoarding support group as well, you know,
Yeah.
if there's any of the people that are at the local hoarding support group, because you know, I kind of want people to be involved that potentially either have their own problem, or they want to talk about, you know, hoarding behavior. So I'm very much an advocate or an ambassador for saying, you know, I don't mind talking about it. There were times when I would have not used the word hoarding behavior and not used the word, I used the word hoarder because it's a word that people understand, but I don't want to have that label, and that I don't need to have that label. It's just a word that people, understand if I use the word hoarder.
But we
But
can
I
also
don't think,
we can also reframe that word. Hoarding makes sense to other people because that's why you're doing what you're doing. But as a mindset shift and as a healing, to actually see it as swap the word hoard to stock, because actually you've got beautiful stock, and you're going to sell it.
yeah,
Yes, you've hoarded it, and it was part of your hoarding pattern. But now actually we can see it as stock that you're going to sell, and raise money for Hoarding UK, and recoup some of the money yourself. As you
yeah,
say, the motivation isn't particularly money. It's it's about, at the moment, it's about getting rid of it.
yeah.
Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of our interview. We are going to be sharing our team journey over the next few weeks, and we hope people will watch and see this journey evolve.
Yeah, it's very exciting because obviously, there'll be times that you'll see me actually in the shop rather than at home. You'll be able to see me, in the shop opening day, and it's wonderful that I'm going on the journey with Anne-Marie, and I thank you very much for all that. That's a little bit emotional because it's like, oh! I'm not gonna get tearful.
No, you've done very well. You've done very well, and we're going to end the broadcast, and we're going to go back into the studio. So we're going to come off live and go back into the studio, and hopefully I'll get it right and not chuck us both out. So let's just end the broadcast. We've had a couple of people watching. Somebody was watching for quite a while. There was no comments, so they've just had a listen. And actually, I think that's quite nice.
Yeah, that's lovely because we wanted to. I think
it didn't go into any personal stuff, and there was no tears. So let's just end the broadcast and just come off live. We'll just say bye-bye to our viewers.
Thanks. Bye-bye to everyone that's just watched. Watch the journey.
Our two viewers.
Bye.